welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. You want to see what I'm looking at? I think it's pretty cool. I'll tell you a story. My son, a few years ago, maybe several years at this point, had basically what amounts to a vision. He saw some things, he experienced some things. He realized they were important. He prayed for understanding, and then he received a message. And so what he saw and experienced really happened. It wasn't, like, I, John, was, in the Spirit on the Lord's Day. No, I mean, he saw this. And so let's just get to it. He was in his young 20s. He was going to a friend's house. I think they were going to work on a car or something. And he got to the friend's house a little early, and his friend was still at work, and it was hot. But the backyard had like a deck with a big shade tree. And so I think my son probably texted him and said, I'm here early. I'll wait for you on the deck or something. He goes back on the deck to sit down in the shade. My son does. And his friend, whose house he was at, had 2 pit bulls that were inside the house. And when my son came on the back deck, they started barking, doing what dogs do, at the glass. But they calmed down. And it was nice in the shade. My son's sitting there. He's just looking out over the backyard. And it was a yard of decent size. And at the back of it, there was a strip of woods that just kind of went back there. So he's looking across grass into woods. And he likes that. He's like me that way. And in the yard was an old gazebo made out of wood. And it looked kind of like Greek architecture, but it was rotten. The wood had been there forever. And the wood was rotting and it was starting to fall apart. Nobody used the gazebo anymore. They used the deck. The ducks, right? They used the deck. And while he's sitting there, my goodness. Duck love. While he's sitting there, a fox comes out from underneath this gazebo, a red fox. He said it was beautiful. And with not a care in the world, just saunters across the yard, at which point the pit bulls see it. They want to get at that fox, but the fox doesn't even pay him any attention. And walks across the yard, walks into the woods, and it's gone. It's gone. And my son's like, wow, that's cool. It was a fox, and I'm a fox. And, dun-dun-dun-dun. And then it looked nice. It was red. You don't really see a lot of them. And so he's just sitting there thinking, wow, that's really cool. And then his friend came home. He heard him pull up in the driveway. And his friend hollers, I'm coming out. And I guess he probably got a couple beers or something. I don't know. And when he opens up the sliding glass door, the pit bulls remembered that fox. And they came running out. They ran across the deck. They went in the yard to where the fox had walked across the grass, and they're sniffing. And they sniffed backwards to the gazebo that was all crumbling, rotten. And they're going around and around the gazebo, and they're sniffing and snarfling under it. And out from the other side comes another fox. Pops out. And at first my son's like, wow, it must be like a fox den or something under there. Except this fox had mange, and it wasn't walking right. It looked nasty. It wasn't pretty like the first fox. It had hair falling out of it. It looked bad. My son said it was walking like it was drunk or something, like a zombie. And it comes out, and the dogs are on this side of the gazebo. It comes out this side and starts kind of walking to the woods, and the dogs see it. And right before this nasty fox gets to the woods, the pit bulls get on it and they kill it. And then, he and his friend are yelling, "Hey, get off it," because they didn't want their dogs to get sick. And so they get the dogs off of it, and they throw this mangy fox in the woods, lock the dogs up, and that was the end. They went about their day doing whatever they're going to do. But then that night, it hit my son that this was supposed to mean something. And so he prayed about it. And this is what he got. The gazebo was of Greek, looked kind of Greek-like, and it was rotting, falling apart. Represented our modern society. Greek model democracy, yada yada, crumbling, in decay, falling apart. And the one fox, and this was long before I started using the phrase, "come out of her, my people." The one fox came out from underneath that system, if you will, and went to the wilderness of the woods, taking its own sweet time. It looked good, it was in good shape, and it made it just fine. Now sure, the forces of evil, represented here by the pit bulls, they saw it and they wanted it and they were barking at it, but they didn't get it. And then the other fox, the mangy fox, once the forces of evil were circling society, the gazebo, flushed it out. And it was already in a sick and decayed state because, to his mind, it had waited too long. Now, clearly it didn't get rabies in the 20 minutes that happened, but vision, because they had waited too long in this disease system. And when they decided it was time to flee to the relative safety of the wilderness, it was too late. And the pit bulls got it and killed it. They didn't make it. I believe that is the meaning of that vision. So you got to ask yourself, where are you in that picture? A lot of people think this current thing, disease, pandemic, is biblical. I think it's pre-biblical. Allow me to use that. I believe that America has to go down before the true forces of evil can start implementing their will on this world. I don't believe, in the main, that the United States is in the book of Revelation. Not as a main player. Could be in the part where, alas, alas, Babylon the Great has fallen, and 1 hour her destruction has come. Could be that. Could be the wilderness into which the woman flees. And if I'm getting too deep for you, that's okay. Just let it flow over you. But the bottom line is, I don't see a lot of the things that are talked about in the book of Revelation and Daniel and elsewhere as being able to come to pass with a strong, vibrant, influential United States. And so I think the United States has to fall before that can happen. Do I want the United States to fall? Heck no. Well, Pastor Joe, you're a pastor, and if that's got to happen before Jesus comes back, yeah. My system is complicated. The way I look at it, I have the ticket. I want the full ride, the full experience. But I think we are going to fall, one way or the other. And that's what I meant by pre-biblical. This could set the stage for boom, boom, boom. We fall, power vacuum in the world, Antichrist rises. Whatever you think on that, whatever. I don't care, and I don't really want to go there with this channel. I was just telling you where I'm looking at things. People see this, what's happening with this plague, as being serious, setting up things. You know, I just read an article. One of y'all sent me an email about a week ago, and then I read an article today. And when the Viking sent me the email, I actually went and looked up a couple of them. He sent me a list of CEOs who have all resigned very recently. And the email said that CEOs are not allowed to, while they're sitting CEO, cash in their stock in their company. So they resigned and cashed in their stock. And he gave me a list of about 10 or 15 CEOs and said he had checked them, but I spot checked about 5 of them, and yeah, they'd all quit. And then I read an article today from Newsweek that was written in November that talked about it. And yeah, big changes are coming one way or another. And I said this earlier in another video. Whatever this pandemic thing is or isn't, however it shakes out, bad, easy, whatever, it ain't the last thing that you're going to experience, that you're going to go through, or that I'm going to go through. More's coming, and I believe the tempo is going to increase, and the severity is going to increase, and there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and wars and rumors of wars, but be not afraid, for the end is not yet. Well, yeah, but while you're going through those wars and rumors of wars, while nations are rising against nation and there's earthquakes, that's real. The end is the end. That doesn't mean your personal demise doesn't come before that. This gazebo's crumbling. Read Sir John Glubb, New People. I hit on him for a while. You can look up Sir John Glubb, Fate of Empires. You can get the PDF version right off the net. It's about 29 pages. Read that. It's an easy read. No, it's not an easy read, but it's a very interesting read. Sir John Glubb, Fate of Empires. Have you started having a notebook and pencil when you watch these videos? You should. I get a lot of people say, what is that again? But yeah, this gazebo's crumbling, gang. And some of y'all are still trying to hide under it, thinking it's providing you shelter and safety. But the pit bulls are coming. All right, I'll see you out there.